got the right button. Magic. Try and figure this out. By the time we've done this 653 times, we'll all have it figured out. Okay, so this year, the theme is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. This month, the theme is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. Today is Grounded Beyond the Beginning. What the heck does grounded beyond the beginning mean? I'm thinking it has to do with, we laid a bit of the foundation last week with what Timeless Wisdom Evolutionary Vision is about, and we're going to go take that a little bit deeper this week. Maybe. So this year's theme is Timeless Wisdom Evolutionary Vision, and this month we're explore the ancient and sacred wisdom that science of mind has drawn upon and begin to contemplate the trajectory of our movement and our individual consciousness. Where have we been and where are we going? We stand on the shoulders of giants and we see new horizons. So remembering the foundational principles upon which our faith is built, we honor the many traditions which science of mind has used as springboards and jump into the deep truth behind these teachings. The deep truth is all is one and always has been. We envision all people, all beings, and all life as experiences, expressions of God. We see a world in which every person lives in alignment with his or her highest spiritual principle, emphasizing unity with God and connection with each other, a world in which individually and collectively we're called to a higher state of consciousness and action. Now, I'm just not seeing that we see that in the world today. It looks a little different out there. We can, in our minds, hold that vision. That's our vision, where everybody works together. But so far, I've not exactly seen that out picturing, if this past week was any example. The timeless wisdom. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. I'm going to say that again in a minute or two. There is one infinite reality. We call it many names, including, but not limited to, God, life, universal spirit, infinite intelligence, first cause, or the thing itself. The one infinite reality is undivided, complete, and whole within itself. This oneness creates everything out of itself, and therefore includes both the absolute and the relative, the tangible and the intangible, the physical and the metaphysical aspects of reality, and probably 75,000 more dimensions that we don't even understand. It's still all God. Religious science is the result of the best throughout the ages, taking the best from all different kinds of sources. Religious science has access to the highest enlightenment of the ages. It reads every person's Bible and gleans the truth contained within. It studies all the people's thoughts and draws from each that which is true, without criticism, without judgment, but by true discrimination. That which is true and provable may be discovered and put to practical use. That's a quote from Ernest Holmes in What Religious Science Teaches. We believe, or what we believe, or the Declaration of Principles of the Science of Mind contains the foundational principles of the science of mind philosophy. I did not have enough sleep last night, and I cannot talk cogently. So y'all can laugh, it's okay when I mess up the words. Inherent therein is the synthesis of thought from various spiritual traditions and philosophies that affirm the oneness of the universe, one God, one source, one father, mother of all, one religion, one mind, one life. Dr. Holmes' analysis of these principles illustrate how religious science keeps faith with the spiritual thought of the ages. He really studied all of these different philosophies and religions and came up with these ideas. We believe, and this is in the Science of Mind book, the magazine, has been every year that I could find. They're exactly the same that I could find. Somebody asked Ernest Holmes one time, what is it you believe? And that's what he wrote. This is what he wrote. But then it got changed into, instead of I believe, it got changed into we believe. And we don't insist that you believe it. But we'd like for you to open your mind and your thoughts to the possibilities. We believe in God, the living spirit, almighty, one indestructible, absolute, self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe in the individualization of the spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one spirit. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul forever and ever expanding. It's a good thing that's not bodies forever and ever expanding. We'd be blimps, right? Just saying. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and this goal is sure to be attained by all. Obviously, some people were not there this week earlier. Complete freedom from all discord. We believe in the unity of all life and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. That's an interesting piece. We believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. You have to live in close contact with the indwelling God. It's in you. How can you get closer than in you? Your awareness may need to be closer, but it's right there. So that means that any one of us can be a revealer of truth at any point, even if the person is not cognitive of their oneness with God. They can still be revealing the truth. And that's why we can hear that truth, those words, from other people anytime. It always amazes me where I can find science of mind philosophy bits, because they're in novels and science fiction books and just anywhere you can think of. Just hear somebody on television say something and it's like, oh my gosh, that's science of mind. We believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon it. We believe in the healing of the sick through the power of this mind. We believe in the control of conditions through the power of this mind. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. We believe in our own soul, our own spirit, and our own destiny, for we understand that the life of all is God. Each of us is God. What an interesting group of things. And yet one leads to the other, and they make so much perfectly good sense when you're reading them. And then the key then is now we have them. How do we embody them? Where do we go to make them real? Sacred books of all peoples declare that God is one, a unity from which nothing can be excluded and to which nothing can be added. And that is not the impression that I got as a young girl in the Catholic Church. It was, God was out there watching me and making sure that he was taking notes for all those times that I was bad. It was worse than Santa Claus, you know? It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't get that God is one with me, in me, through me, and as me. And yet now I'm seeing more of the teachings of the Catholic Church that kind of lean that way, even though they don't come right out and say it like that. Oh, well. I wouldn't have had so much to unlearn if I had. Oh, well. In our global vision, we see a world where all life, all people are seen as expressions of the divine. Yet we observe social inequities, racial injustice, and disenfranchisement of people throughout the world. Deeply held beliefs of race superiority, preference, and privilege are not consistent with our spiritual and universal principles. Our evolutionary vision for humanity is a world where people live in alignment with spiritual truth. There was a time at one point when someone asked Ernest Holmes to, I want to say throw out, but ask the people of color that were in the group to leave, as he was doing a lecture. And he stood up there and he said, every single one of you is welcome. You are all here. It's the right place. You know, he was like, no, this is the principle. And people who are wanting others to leave, it's like, that's not who we are. He was very adamant about it. So I should probably learn the story better, but that's the point. Being spiritually grounded in the consciousness of oneness, such that one lives in alignment with spiritual truth, requires a process of contemplative meditation or courting, as if we're wooing, and constant communing with God, with the divine. It is needful to bring conscious remembrance truth statements that spirit is the only power, that divine consciousness, the invisible cause, is all there is, and the great unity of life for all. It's ever existing and ever present. Being grounded means that you become so convicted in the reality of oneness that it becomes well established within you and manifests truth in action and form. Okay, I'm going to take it down to a much more concrete piece. I want you to think back over 2020 and think back of all the good that came out of 2020. I know it's over and it's not been really good for many people. And some people have made their transition into other realms, and that's not bad. So for me, starting last January, I came into contact with the Dream Manager program that will let me work with people to help them achieve their dreams, their goals, their intentions, what they would like to get out of life. And I thought it would be good to use with the people that I've been corresponding with that are in prison and getting out of prison. And it is. And I can use it with other people as well. So that started off my year. Oh, great hopes and expectations in January. And then COVID. The good news for me, I have an essential job. So essentially, my work did not change. I go to work every day. I sit there at my desk in a big room all by myself, which I did before, and I do my work. And at the end of the day, I go home and my paychecks cash just like they used to. No change, except for this stress that's going around. And then we quit meeting, my Toastmasters Club quit meeting, and they said, you will do Zoom. Toastmasters International said, you will do Zoom. And I'm going, okay, well, I just got a brand new Zoom account to do my dream management stuff with. I thought, well, okay, I'll do that. I'll do the first meeting. We'll try it out. We'll see. Here's the Zoom ID, etc. And lo and behold, now we're doing meetings on Zoom for church. And then in September, we started doing live meetings. So I had to learn, not only did I have to learn Zoom to do the meetings in the first place, but now I got to learn how to juggle all of this stuff to do you guys in this room and you guys on this on the screen. It's like, okay. And I'm still learning because it's like, now what are we doing? How we record this? I had the opportunity in 2020 to fly in October to Delaware to do a wedding for some friends of mine, real close friends of mine, getting married. We had at my first COVID wedding where everybody, it was outdoors, everybody was masked except me and the two people getting married, because that way we could hear the vows and the talk, etc. Had great time outdoors. The rain held off until the next day as we're driving back to the airport. This was some tropical storm that went through, and we managed to hold it off long enough to get the wedding over with, and nobody got COVID at all. So we get great job. We had an ice storm. Remember that? Not that long ago. Mike and I were without power for 8 days. The first day was cold. The second day was not so cold. And the third day got up into the 50s and 60s. So we were without power and the house was chilly, but it was livable. I'm going, okay. So we had alternate ways to get stuff done. We had hot water, so you could have a shower every day. I've got some lanterns about the size of this bottle of water that would sit right here, and I could read and write and do my morning stuff. The treadmill did not work. No power, no treadmill, but you make do with what you got. We have had an unwanted guest living with us for quite some time, and she left the week before Christmas. That was a good thing that happened in 2020. And we had a quiet Christmas. I mean, it was really quiet. We had one granddaughter show up for about 15 minutes to pick up the salad that she'd asked for Christmas. She asked for a salad for Christmas. So I made a salad and she came and got it. Now, I will admit it is a very rich salad. So good. What good happened in 2020 for you? Because there was good. Go ahead, Chris. Yeah. Yes.
Well, there was tons of good. For me, probably the best piece was the getting Pamela, which she came in before we knew COVID was going to hit so hard.
Mm-hmm.
So she was already in place when everything shut down.
Good.
And I would have hated to live through the last 9 months with nobody in the house.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So it's been great.
Awesome. Good.
I went on several new hiking trips.
Several new hiking trips.
Several new hiking trips, yeah. Finished my first Prac 1 class.
Finished
six regular, I don't know what they're called, regular.
6 regular classes in the first term of Prac 1, yeah.
Prac class, so that was pretty awesome.
Yep. Cool. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? Go ahead.
I took this job in December and met a new cast of characters in a new place, and I liked it for the most part, but I caught COVID up there.
Oh my.
And so anyway, consequently, I'm not going to go back. I can't get the vaccination until 90 days after this treatment they gave me, which they give to older people. But anyway, I feel real fortunate that it came through it, as light as I did. So, yeah.
Good. Good. All right.
You're not going back?
Not now, maybe later.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I do between the week of Christmas and New Year's, generally, is give thanks for all the things that I can think of that happened that year without going back and rereading the logs. And I look over what my intentions were for the last year. And my intentions for the last year, there were 793 intentions for 2020. And they're going, 700 people are going 793. How did you get that? Well, I put down in my intentions, I wanted to walk 3 times a week. So that's 3 times 52 weeks. That's 156 right there, just in walking. I write 52 thoughts, 1 per week. I write 12 newsletters. So you could see that the numbers add up pretty quickly when you do it that way. And I had 12 places on my list that I wanted to travel to. And that's way more than I know that I'm ever going to get to go to in a year. But I put them on the list. And as I do them, I cross them off. So I did get to travel to Delaware this year. So that got crossed off my list. One of the things I wanted to do was to go to Mexico, to the convention in Mexico, and Geneva to the convention in Geneva. And those are both virtual. So I was able to attend virtually, but I didn't go there. So it's kind of a win, maybe kind of thing. Do it more or not. And then, of course, I create a new list for this year of things that I want to be and do and have and so on and so forth. Some of those are pretty easy. Again, walk 3 times a week, etc. Some are not. How do you measure growing awareness, deepening your awareness of your connection with God? How do you measure that? It's like, I don't know how to measure where I am now, let alone how to measure when I'm deeper. So all I can do is create things, put them on my list that say, these things theoretically should lead me to being more aware of my connection with God. And those things are daily spiritual practice. No, that's 1, not 365. Journaling, prayer, meditation, all fits under daily spiritual practice. Reading spiritual books, attending a spiritual workshop or conference or whatever, those kinds of things. And my theory here is if I do all of those things, then at the end of the year, I will have deepened by some degree my awareness of my connection with God. Will that be enough to change the world? Don't know. But it's my start. It's my start. It's beyond the ground. It's beyond the principles. It's trying to move into a place where I'm recognizing on a regular basis where this stuff happens. And I don't know about you, but this last week, and I said this in my thought this week too, that this last week has been kind of an interesting piece. The power went out on New Year's Day. I had all these big plans of what I was going to do, and the power went out. So I went and got my lantern, and I sat there and did my journaling and my reading and so on and so forth. I couldn't walk on the treadmill, but I had a big open space on my floor so I could do the yoga. So that, it's kind of like, and I got to go out to breakfast with Mike as well as supper, because that was the first is our wedding anniversary. When we get to those times where stuff's going on and we somehow or other are logged into the news and we're seeing all this stuff that we don't really want to see, and it doesn't fit in with our vision, instead of totally ignoring it, which is a form of what they call spiritual bypass, just ignoring it, I like to send love. That's my piece. I like to, in my imagination, fill up those huge water balloon type balloons, maybe dirigible size balloons, with love, just huge. And In my imagination, I blow into a big, huge balloon, and then I tie that off and I send it sailing over, in this case, Washington, D.C., and pop it and let all of that love just flow down on top of whatever's there. So every time I saw one of those things going on, you know, those brief pieces with the, oh, this was such and such and so, you know, that I'm send that balloon, pop, and let that be, let that fall all over whoever I saw or groups of people that I saw. Did it change their behavior? Maybe. Did it change how I felt? Yes. I felt like I actually could do something about that. Not being there, I couldn't go, you know, run in, and I probably wouldn't have felt safe doing it anyway, but maybe I would have going, stop, wait, this is stupid. So, but I could send love. And it's a start. What is it we're going to do? As a group, what are we going to do? As an individual, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with your life? Are you in a place where you can say, my intention for 2021 is to stop whenever I see all this stuff going on and send love? My intention for 2021 is to, when I get in the car and I close the car door, whoops, it's on this side, close the car door, I say, and I buckle that seatbelt, I'm sending out love when I drive. Does it change anything? Yeah, it does. Changes me. And if I change me, that changes whoever comes in contact with me. Because when I'm changed, I'm doing different things. And when I'm doing different things, people are reacting to what I do differently. I'm the only one I have any control over. So I'm working really hard to express God in all ways. And that's sending love. From the beginning of creation, this unity of life was set in motion. Creation is defined as the giving of form to the substance of mind. It is the play of life upon itself, the action of a limitless imagination upon an infinite law. Through this unity, this one mind, any individual has the ability, through the power of the word, through our daily spiritual practice, to ground the self in the absolute knowing and practice of oneness, to manifest the thought of God, of true unity for all. I trust that we will all do this to the best of our ability. And so I give thanks. And let me take this into prayer. There is one God. There is one power. It is everywhere present. It is in everything that exists. God is all there is. Every single thing is God. All thoughts, all ideas, all people, all plants, all rocks, stars and planets and galaxies and aliens, they're all God. And the power that is God, that created everything, that power is flowing through me in this moment. I know it, I feel it, I see it. I see it when I cut my finger and it heals. I see it when I have to trim my fingernails. I know that that power that is God is growing. My hair is getting longer. I know that the power of God is moving through me. And so I accept for myself an awareness of my connection with that God, with that divine, allowing that connection to clarify for me exactly what is mine to do. Allowing myself to become more aware of that deep connection and deepening the connection even more. So that in in addition to recognizing my oneness in the morning when I get up, and my oneness in the evening when I go to bed, and my oneness when I buckle my seatbelt, throughout the day, there are more and more times when I am recognizing my oneness. And that feels so good. When I see something that seems out of alignment, I send it love. When I see something that is in alignment, I send it love too. I feel like I'm a love broadcasting station, and that's a good thing. And I know this is true for me. It is true for each of us here. I give thanks for this good unfolding, for the love that is coming my direction as well as going out from me. It is God in all ways. And so I release this prayer into the law that says yes to my word. And we affirm it together by saying, and so it is. Stop.